Howdy mates, good late morning, how are we all doing? It is Sunday, June 4th, 2023. Can you hear that cardinal in the background? Let's see if I can find him. Where are you at? There, oh, he just moved. Yep, male cardinal singing his heart out. Dang, he flew away so quick. Anyway, I'm at a particular park. I know I've done footage here before. This is up in Manatee County. This is known as the Rye Preserve. And it's so named because it was near this area where there was something known as the Rye Settlement, named after a family that stayed here after the Civil War occurred. So you figure, back in the 1880s, give or take. But, basically there were old remnants here remaining in terms of buildings. And it was, I can't remember exactly what year it was, but it was in the 20th century as to where this became a dedicated preserve that is protected by Manatee County. And this is one of my favorite little spots at the park. This is a tributary that will eventually lead into the one and only Manatee River, which is another it's another blackwater river that is found in Southwest Florida. But you figure, going back to the 19th century, the Manatee River was very instrumental in trade and transportation too, by means of steamships. Because, of course, during that time, there were really no roads at all. I mean, there may have been some, driveways and whatnot, with horse and carriage. But that was really about the extent. Otherwise, water was the most reliable means of transport. But not to digress too much further, I have I don't know if I should say honor or the dishonor of presenting an invasive plant that is found pretty much throughout Florida. Here we've got something known as the Ludwigia peruviana, also known as the Peruvian Primrose-Willow. Now, apparently, from what I have understood, this is not a true primrose. It's kind of a misnomer, you could say. But beside that, it's invasive because it was originally found in parts of Central and South America. You see, the thing is, how we really determine how plants are native to a particular region is going by old records, from European naturalists who traversed here back when settlement was happening prior to the Revolutionary War. So we're talking back in the 18th century. And that being said, one of those prominent figures was William Bartram, whom I have mentioned about several times. I mentioned his name even when I was up in North Carolina. Apparently, through some of his travels down here, he never stumbled upon that plant. There's no written record of it. And so that can deduce to the fact that it is invasive. And for another, it's very characteristic of one too. You see, the thing is, this plant is quite extensive in terms of how large it can grow, right? So, what can happen is if it's allowed to grow, it can clog waterways, And once it clogs waterways, it creates more sediment. And so, since this plant requires oxygen just as the other plants do, invasives tend to use more volumes of oxygen. Thus, it could drown or basically suffocate any of the aquatic vegetation that may lie in here. And same thing goes when there's more sediment accumulation too. That reduces how much oxygen is available. So it doesn't only impact aquatic vegetation, but it also impacts our aquatic vertebrates and invertebrates too. So it's like, in a sense, they kind of create their own little dead zone. But they are very distinctive in the fact that they have 4 petals, and then they have a green sepal that is towards the center. And you know, despite how pretty it is, it can be very destructive. And that's really one of the main reasons how it became invasive down here. It was used as an ornamental plant. And so you figure, since it's had over 100 years to make establishment, it's pretty much found throughout the state. And it's very difficult to control for another as well. So, in terms of exactly what methods are being used, it's very difficult to say. You know, there could be some herbicidal application, but when it comes to physical removal, it's kind of one of those deals where you're damned if you do or damned if you don't. So it's, you know, you may provide a service by removing one, but the thing is, it can, with their seeds, it can spread quite easily. But then if you do nothing, it'll just continue to reproduce. So it's a tough call. But anyway, coverage is still necessary on the plant. But besides that, if you guys haven't been, I of course would recommend. It is a very nice setting, and it's starting to get a little toasty too. So I'm gonna start looking for some shade. All right, take care, you guys. Bye-bye.